For the past 8 years, we have had our heads buried in exhaustive research in an attempt to unearth groundbreaking discoveries on which the fate of our universe may very well depend. Unfortunately, we have also spent much of that time distracted by life-threatening alien attacks, quantum distortion, and just kinda not feeling it some days. So, our journey presses on as we continue our efforts to restore order and balance to a world that is mostly out of whack because we didn't know what we were doing at first. But I swear we're getting the hang of it. This is Vaguely Scientific. I am the law. Drop your weapons, these blocks are under arrest. I am Derek. And I am joined, as always, by Jim, the scientist. Hi, Jim. Just so you know, the Senate will decide your fate.
Well, I feel like you have better things to do than to arrest building blocks, but okay.
Yeah, what's Judge Dredd reference?
Yeah. He arrested a bunch of building blocks, I remember.
We have two guests with us this week. Welcome, Aly and Justin. In case you didn't know, we are the Borg. Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Your culture will adapt to service us. Resistance is futile. Hi.
Hi. Can I get rid of the biological mass and just be the technological mass? Or is there an exchange rate? How does that go?
I think we get everything, but you're still allowed to use it.
Cool. Done.
I didn't sign up for any of this.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Vaguely Scientific is a show where we try to answer questions submitted by listeners, posed by friends of the show, and gathered by random happenstance in our daily lives. We can't always promise we'll get the answers right, but we can promise to pretend we did. Before we get to those questions, Jim, I believe you have a fun science fact of the day for us.
I do, yeah. The Tunguska event occurred on June 30th, 1908. It was a huge explosion that leveled thousands of square kilometers of forest in northern Russia. It's thought to have been caused by a large asteroid around 60 meters wide, exploding in midair during re-entry.
1908, you say?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't alive then.
No.
That was a lot less fun than Jim had pitched that science fact earlier.
You don't think exploding asteroids leveling thousands of kilometers of forest is not fun?
I mean,
I am often skeptical of what Jim's definition of fun might be when we do these.
It's
these
interesting.
facts.
I don't know that it the animals did not have fun.
No.
A lot of them are very morbid.
To be fair, the animals wouldn't still be alive now anyway. So
That's fair. That is fair.
I mean, technically correct, the best kind of correct, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good thing it didn't land on a city.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Before we start talking in circles, I think we should move on to our first question this week, which is, what if we did reinvent the wheel?
What if?
What if?
What's wrong with the wheel?
The expression to reinvent the wheel means to waste time and effort making something that already exists, or to overcomplicate something by not using pre-existing information.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just so curious to see where everyone's brains went with this question.
Orb?
Orb.
Yeah.
Orb.
Instead of flat circle, well, not flat, but more flat circle.
So a sphere instead of a torus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like an iRobot with Will Smith.
Yeah. That wasn't my inspiration, but yeah.
I mean, I have seen spheres in many things. So that's one example.
Or move in all direction. And so parking easier.
Yeah.
If we're reinventing the wheel, should we not talk like cavemen? I'm sorry, I just kind of took that upon myself.
I like the choice.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It would make parallel parking way easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, can you imagine if you were on the highway and you're like, oh dang, I missed my exit. You could just turn the whole thing 180 degrees and just go.
Yeah. I mean, I guess some parameter set. Sorry, Justin. No, go ahead.
No, No, I was gonna say I hate to break it to you, but I think Jurassic Park beat you to it because it's just instead of orb as the wheel, it's orb is car.
Oh.
Orb is car.
Orbis car is good.
Yeah.
I do like Orbis car.
It's a human-sized hamster ball
Yes.
that can roll across lava.
I feel like I'm going insane right now.
Sorry.
Orbis car is good.
Yeah, Orbis car is good.
That's enough for me. I don't know.
That's all you really need, really.
Okay, I'm going to take you a level deeper. You ready?
Please do. You're gonna add adverbs.
Earth is orb is good. Car orb is good. Go many direction.
But car orb go up and down?
If fast enough.
Car orb no defy gravity.
You know what? We could combine my idea with that idea to make car orb go up and down, because my idea was magnets.
Ooh.
Oh, magnets.
Justin, you were using far too many words.
Sorry.
You're conjugating your verbs too much.
Orb good, magnet good. Orb and magnet better.
Orb and magnet better.
Very good, yes.
Orb and magnet very okay, yes.
Like the magnet ball in Metroid.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Justin as a caveman shrugging, saying, "It okay."
It okay.
It okay.
It okay. Orb okay, magnet okay. Orb and magnet
Yeah.
Better.
Better okay.
More orb and magnet more good.
More
I
good.
like
okay.
magnet. I like magnet. I'm just wondering how we control speed and direction and stuff with magnet. Speak on that.
Multiple magnet, many magnet, different direction.
Okay. Okay.
So I was like, I actually went two ways so that I couldn't figure out if you wanted to say, what if we reinvented the wheel now, or what if we reinvented the wheel when the wheel was invented?
I have thoughts about both.
Yeah, same.
Okay, yeah, so I have answers for both. So modern day stuff. What if you replaced the wheels with magnets that could shift and propel forward and backwards? Maybe like the magnets would physically move to propel you forward and backwards, almost like feet. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I guess you could do that multiple directions too if you did it right. So
Yeah.
also, you could potentially create electromagnetic fields, which might help with cycling car batteries and making them a little bit more efficient. I don't know if that would actually work, but that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm picturing you in a big, not you specifically, but I'm picturing the driver in a fully encased in a sphere, and then they have some kind of gyroscopic stabilization to keep them upright. Is that kind of close to what you're describing?
Yeah, I dropped a picture in the chat of the Jurassic Park one. That's basically what it is.
Oh,
It's like a sphere within a sphere, huh?
It's a giant Sphero.
Oh.
You know the Sphero robots?
Oh, yeah.
It's a big Sphero. That's all it is. But you the controls are on the inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that might be the answer. I think that might be Big Ball.
Big
If
ball.
all cars were big balls.
Big ball is good.
Yeah.
Orb.
Yeah.
I feel like that's safer too. Because if you get into a wreck in a big ball, I feel like big ball is more durable than big metal car. So
Yeah. Okay, so I watched a YouTube video, I forget who by, but it was somebody who said they wanted to reinvent the wheel to replace the wheels on their skateboard. And so they said, instead of using a circle, I'm going to try all these different shapes to make a wheel replacement out of it. And so it was a lot of study in physics, they tried to do a triangle, and the whole idea was if the triangle is repeated and twists down a cylinder, as long as it has one point touching the ground at all times, it will still roll. And then they did a bunch of other shapes beyond triangle and tried to do all these things. But a thing that I noted, despite the fascination that they had, and not to put them down or anything, because it was a fun video to watch, They were pointing out, oh, look at the pattern it makes in the snow when it rolls. And, oh, it's interesting that this one handles better on slippery surfaces and stuff. And I was like, okay, so you haven't reinvented the wheel. What you've done is discovered a tire tread.
Yeah.
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 I was just thinking, like, the more polygons you have, the closer to a circle you end up anyway.
Right.
It ends up being functionally a circle.
That's where I started too, because I was like, how many shapes are there without angles? There's ovals and there's circles, right? Yeah, but I didn't even think about that. But like, yeah, I guess if you spin them fast enough, it would still function properly because part of it would be hitting, and it would work better on like snow and ice and slippery material.
Yeah, because it has grip, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool though. They found a way to get to tire tread without actually thinking about tire treads though. That's kind of cool.
Well, I thought it was interesting that they were discovering basically the use of tire tread, but at no point in this video did the person ever like mention tread, but like they were just literally discovering tire tread by trying this experiment. I was like, that's still cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the oldest known physical wheel used for transportation, I learned, was discovered in 2002 and carbon dated to approximately 3150 BC.
Huh.
Oh.
It was made out of oak and ash, and it had an axle. So that's how we knew that it was for a cart.
Oh, okay.
We have evidence from Mesopotamia around 4200 BC that potters used wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So they're at least that old.
Yeah. And I assume that's like a hand cart type situation.
Probably, yeah.
I was thinking that, like, it's so cool when you get back that far in human history and civilizational history, because human history goes back for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But the base tools and stuff that was available and the ways that it was used is still kind of similar to what we do today. It's just that our, like, materials tech has gotten better.
Yeah.
Oh, the scientific method hasn't changed.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't know it back then, but everybody discovers things using the scientific method, so that kind of makes sense.
Well, and I think it's worth noting that the wheel is, one of the 6 simple machines, so you really don't get much. Like, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'd have to, I don't have to think all that hard about this. I'm going to say definitively, I bet the first simple machine we invented was the wedge, because, spears and axes and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably the second one was the wheel and axle.
Or like the inclined plane, because we didn't have to.
Oh yeah, I guess we didn't have to invent the inclined plane. Good point.
Yeah. Well, no, but I'm glad you said simple machine. That's actually what I was just about to point out, because the wheel, despite the fact that it really doesn't occur naturally, like in anatomy of anything, which is one of the things I think is interesting about the wheel, specifically wheels and axles, it is incredibly simple, and using it is intuitive. So one of the ways that I thought as a thought experiment to approach this question is, could we actually reinvent the wheel? And this is assuming somehow we were able to erase the wheel from human consciousness or something, or we went back in time, but also we didn't have the benefit of future knowledge or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because theoretically, somebody at some point discovered or invented the wheel.
Yeah.
But all of technology since then is with that stepping stone having already been crossed.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's fascinating to think about. And I thought about like mathematics, for example, how everything in studying mathematics, you have to learn the fundamentals that were already discovered, but there are now people using all of those rules to continually discover new things. But like, I can't fathom just figuring out on my own how basic things like multiplication work, like with no instruction prior.
Right. And I think in that same vein, like a lot of cultures. I believe there are still many modern cultures that don't use like a base 10 system for mathematics. They use a different like base 6 or base 5, I think is, oh no, is it 8? Because they count the fingers and then the knuckles on each finger, I think.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah. And I just think it's so neat that if like the mathematics still works, but it's just a different set system. So like if we just changed or tweaked that invention of the wheel a little bit, like it very quickly butterflies out to like what would the world even look like?
Well, what if cars had spheres for wheels? Like parallel parking would be easier.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was thinking about like back to what shapes don't have angles, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only other shape I can think of that doesn't have an angle is a line. So I think sleds. I think the world would run on sleds.
Oh.
Oh, well, we do have like sleigh rails.
Yeah, I think like monorails are straight lines. They kind of curve here and there. They use wheels sometimes. They use magnets. They use magnets.
Well, they use magnets. They use gears, right?
Yeah. But like ships would not have wheels to like turn the rudder. They would have something else, right? Cars would not have steering wheels. They would have a sphere or a line, like a stick that would move them back and forth.
Yeah.
Race cars have like those sort of figure 8 shaped things.
Yeah.
The flux capacitor?
Yeah, exactly.
They could, all the futuristic stuff, they're just like handles, right? They're just like a right and left handle.
Yeah.
I feel like the reason we use the wheel is because it's easier to teach a maneuver than like trying to give somebody full articulation of a vehicle, though. You know what I mean? That seems like it's a lot of work.
Well, it's also like a lot of the use of simple machines like pulleys, for example, and levers is to make things easier. So your reference of steering a ship, well, you describe the rudder is what actually changes direction of the ship. And if you use like a smaller rowboat or something, they have a rudder that you can just turn, but the wheel is used to make it so that a single person has enough mechanical advantage to steer the entire galleon or whatever it is.
Right.
Mm.
Cool. And again, I think this again harkens back to one of our earlier episodes that we all did together where we were talking about like things are invented the way they are mostly, and evolution too, because it was the easiest way for our brains to understand it. And I remember specifically talking about like driving a car and that it's kind of incredible that we've managed to be able to pilot things as like a creature, as an animal. Like we can pilot a mechanical device, and that's kind of incredible.
Yeah. I was thinking a very similar thing about just the ability to type, because it is such a dexterous activity, and it is something like people can type incredibly fast, and I'm a really good typer. I can get like 100 words a minute kind of typing, but like to be able to do that is wild. And it is one of those things that you don't think about people living in the, 1200s knowing how to type, because they didn't have to do something like that. And it's interesting that the human body can do that.
Well, I think that's interesting too, because that kind of harkens back to the idea of building upon a foundation. And I know I've talked about this before because I think it's interesting. As somebody who never really grasped computer technology, but I'm part of the millennial generation, objectively the most confident with computers. But watching as younger generations, specifically, one of the things I was learning recently is that traditional keyboard typing is a skill that is disappearing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it's really weird.
It's not taught in schools anymore, and kids don't really use keyboards.
My wife had a lot of issues when she was a manager, because she would be like, she'd tell some of her younger employees to like type something up or do something, and they would hit the cap locks key every time they wanted a capital letter, and then immediately hit it again. They didn't know how to use shift to make a capital letter. They would use the cap locks key for literally every single uppercase letter they made, and then immediately hit it again so that they could type like when they finished a sentence.
Yeah,
I guess that is kind of how it works on like a smartphone interface.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I had that issue when I was teaching high school where like I had freshmen coming in who had never used a mouse because they're it's cheaper and easier for a family to buy phones and tablets than it is for them to buy a computer for the house to use. Like it's just more accessible. So I had 14-year-olds coming in who like I had to physically teach how to use a mouse because they'd never used one before because their families didn't own a computer.
It's the times are a changing. We're using the ancient wheels right now, boys.
My mouse does have a scroll wheel.
Does it really?
Oh yeah, I love the scroll wheel. That's the best part of the mouse.
Yeah, I use my. If you do any digital, your mouse should have a scroll wheel, Aly. If you do any sort of digital like design, you need a scroll wheel.
I use a tablet with a pen.
I use a tablet, same. I learned analog drawing, and that's what I want. I knew somebody in college who was like really good at drawing in like MS Paint with a mouse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could never do that. I need it to feel like a pencil.
That's cool.
Like,
yeah. That's how I design an Inkscape. I learned how to design an Inkscape by using a keyboard and a mouse with a scroll wheel. It's a third button, and it's the way that you like really fast either go left and right or zoom in and out on things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like, I couldn't imagine not having one.
Oh wait, scroll wheel. I thought you meant the ball at the bottom of the old mouse things. Sorry, I'm back. I super have a scroll wheel.
I just thought you didn't have like a computer, like a desktop computer anymore. Like you had graduated all the way to tablet.
No.
She's so much better than us. She doesn't have a computer anymore.
Yeah.
I refuse to use tablet only because like I want my keyboard with all the hotkeys to switch between the tools and stuff.
Derek, we'll talk later. I've got help for you.
I mean, my setup works.
Good. Then never mind.
But okay.
I don't need to control your life. You got it. You got what works, and that's what's important.
I mean, if you have a tablet just lying around that you're trying to get rid of, I'll take it. But
I don't.
You know what you need in your life more often, Derek? More lines. Less wheels, more lines.
More lines?
More lines. Less wheels, more
wheels.
lines.
I could do with less wheels, honestly.
Mice used to have spheres back before we had lasers.
Sure.
He's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, mice.
Computer mice.
Oh, my God.
The computer mice, not animal mice.
You were talking about the animal mice, and I was like, is this like a hamster wheel thing? What?
I mean, if you had an animal mouse that had like a really nice round kidney stone, then I suppose same thing.
Yeah.
That's a good point, too. Like, if we didn't have wheels, what would we put hamsters in?
I was going to say, they do have hamster spheres that you put them in, and then they run around on the floor.
They sure do.
It's kind of like a 1-for-1, though, right? Like, you kind of need the wheel to make a sphere.
This is what I'm saying. I don't think the sphere is reinventing the wheel. I think it's building off of the wheel.
Interesting. Would you say the same thing about log?
Is it like rolling sideways?
Log is spherical.
Yeah.
Log is wide wheel.
Log is wide wheel.
It's cylindrical.
I've seen the Flintstones.
Log is wide wheel. I mean, that was what I was thinking was like, that's actually kind of a good design for early wheel. Not for now, but...
Yeah, that's like the Flintstones kind of wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the steamroller.
Yeah. I was looking into NASA having reinvented the wheel. And I mean, first off, they didn't like reinvented the wheel, but they did create something that I think is very cool. It is a wheel that is made of some kind of like metal mesh. And this metal mesh is obviously there's no air in it, so it's not going to get a flat tire. And it's very springy. And so if it hits an obstacle, it'll actually rebound and take its original shape on. It's made of something called memory metal. And I think the particular one they used is titanium and nickel, an alloy of that. Those are very common memory metals, so that might be it, but I might be wrong about that. But they were designing these for things like moon buggies and Martian robots so that, they're... Because if you look at pictures of Curiosity's wheels or Perseverance's wheels, they're getting really chewed up. Yeah. And they want to try to invent something that will have a longer shelf life. Now, granted, Curiosity's been up there for 14 years now, but They really want to invent this wheel that is a little bit more robust and a little bit more shock absorber-y, because that is something that the wheels on the Martian rovers do not have, is like the shock absorbing capability that a rubber tire has. But I guess it's not really a reinvention of the wheel. It's just sort of a remix, if you will.
That was kind of my thought when talking about magnets. Was like, could you get rid of tires that have air in them so that you could have something that worked without having, like, you could basically get rid of this idea of like, oh, your tire needs to be filled with air. You have to have a certain pressure on the inside. Could you create even like a magnetic shock absorbing wheel that has multiple magnets that are using like that are creating enough magnetic force that they would hold up a vehicle, and then you wouldn't need to like maintain them like in the same way.
I mean, this will be the third time I've pitched this on this podcast, but I think we overhaul all the roads on the planet and we replace them with air-powered, basically air hockey table surfaces.
Yes.
And then our cars can just glide along like hovercrafts.
How would you stop it?
You don't, because it's giant bumper cars.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Now, here's my alternative to that I think actually solves that particular problem. Instead of turning the road into air hockey table, what you do is you take the air and you put it on the vehicle and have the air blow down like a hovercraft. And then when you want to stop, you just turn off the air and you grind to a halt.
Yeah, you just set down. Yeah, that makes sense.
That would save a lot of money on infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how efficient hovercrafts are, because I feel like we should just all have hovercrafts.
Yeah.
My high schoolers asked me this at one point where they were like, do you think we're ever going to have flying cars? And to that, my response is this, which I will reiterate now. We shouldn't, because we can't be trusted in like a flat plane to drive vehicles.
Yeah.
We should not add another direction to that element. Absolutely not.
Do not add a third dimension.
There's a reason pilots have to go through extensive training.
Yes.
I will say my morning commute would be a lot more interesting if it were bumper cars. But
Yeah.
Can I bring it around full circle again and say, if we do that, giant sphere, put me in a big ball, roll me downtown.
Yeah.
Well, and then you could walk on lava.
I like that. And in my mind, I have always had this vision of the future for cars, where if we can't get good train systems here in the US, I think we should make the roads tracks, and that your car can then program in. You're like, yep, going to work, press a button. And the track will grab the car and just pull you at correct speed to your destination. Kind of like a bus or like a train that everyone else in the world has. But
Or
it's
like
your own car, so you can still have your Ford F-150, Hemi, whatever. And then, but you're still going the same speed as everybody else. Thank you so much for I yield the floor.
I like the idea of the Futurama pneumatic tube system.
Ooh,
Okay.
Kind of the same idea, but
mess up your hair, though.
Well, it doesn't in Futurama, which I feel is based entirely on science.
In reality.
Yeah, Futurama is based on a true story that was sent back in time to us.
Yeah.
It's true.
I wrote a couple things here that I thought might be a really good way to approach this question. So I was like, okay, what if we reinvent the axle on the wheel? And the only thing I could really think of that would change the axle in any meaningful way is if we could somehow really reduce its friction. And I feel like that's sort of the point of all the lubricants that we put on them. And then I was like, well, maybe if I come up with some new uses for wheels that we don't do already. And I spent like 15 minutes thinking of all these things that we could do with wheels. And then I wrote, literally everything I thought of exists. And then I wrote, dang, wheels are so good.
You know what has no friction? Magnets.
Magnets
have
true.
no friction.
Hey,
I'm telling
Justin.
you,
Hey, Justin.
The answer is magnets. Yes, Aly.
Justin, I want to pull you to a side room here for just a second. Come here for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder what they're talking about over
Yeah,
there.
I'm curious
come here for
about
just
the
a sec.
side room.
Okay.
Hey, man. You working for Magneto?
Who?
Magneto. Eric? I forget his last name. Lenchert?
Tall guy, big helmet.
Yeah.
It's none of your business.
Okay, let's go back. Come on.
Okay.
Derek, do you think
Hey, guys.
Justin's working for Dark Helmet?
I don't know. I think I'm ready to sign this deal with the Magneto Corporation, though. Justin makes some good
Ooh.
points.
Hey, listen, man. Like, I'm just one guy, but I hear they do good work.
What happens if you make a wheel out of a magnet? Because, like, I know magnets they need to have a North Pole and a South Pole, and like, what happens then?
Well, if there's this, I would think if there's like a spherical magnet, it would work similarly to how the Earth has poles. So there would just be basically a top and a bottom.
Okay. Well, the wild thing is I have magnets that are just like round donut shaped, and I'm like, how did these work? I feel like the North and South poles actually go through the axle section.
Yeah.
Weird.
Usually, yeah.
No,
I
I've
don't
never
know.
stopped to think about those magnets until right this minute. I've stuck things on the fridge with them, but I've never really interpreted their use and their function and how they exist. Weird.
Well, I like that. I mean, Jim, your last point about everything that you thought of already exists. It really just kind of sums up the whole question in a nice little tidy way for me, because like, yeah, the wheel has already been invented.
Yeah. Well, and it's actually something I read about that I thought was really fascinating, was that the wheel is one of those things that has changed the way that humans do things so fundamentally that we no longer really even think about it until, like, you know, oh, you get a flat tire. It's like, okay, yeah, but it's like you don't think about the wheels on your car until they stop working.
Yes, I would agree with that. That's what I mean. Like, if we could figure out a way to reinvent the tire so that they don't require like maintenance, but they still have the same properties.
I feel like that's sort of a different question, because like I would think finding different materials to use would kind of fit that criteria. And so I think that's worth doing. So like invention is building off of pre-existing things. So the simple machines are essentially the atoms of invention, right? Like everything beyond that is using those and building off of them, but we can't reduce those any further.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that, but that's so
Me
correct.
Me neither, until just now. I hope it sounded smart.
I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
Loves me some simple machines.
Yeah.
Well, in addition to trying out some simple machines, I have a simple experiment I'd like to run. And this, listeners, is an experiment you can do at home. I thought it would be fun to try this because we have Aly and Justin on again, and if you recall, I did our counting exercise a long time ago, maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. And this is a similar idea as that. So let me give you some pre-explanation here. I am going to attempt to perform a little mentalism trick.
Okay.
Now, before I begin, and this is a disclaimer to the audience, I have adapted this for radio and for only having 3 test subjects. So we're using a much smaller sample size, and there is no physical or visual media. So I legitimately don't know how well it's going to work, but either way, it should be interesting to find out, and I will explain where this experiment came from after we've run the test. So listeners, you can do this at home if you want. However, you'll have to avoid rewinding the audio or using captions to read what we're saying. Feel free to write in after the episode to let us know if it worked, what you thought about it, if it didn't work, and why you think it might not have. So Jim, Aly, and Justin.
That's me.
One of them is.
Yeah.
I am going to list a series of words, 15 words, as a matter of fact. And I'm not going to explain why until we get there, but what I want you to do is listen to each of the words. I'll read them kind of slowly and try to remember them exactly.
Okay.
Without writing them down and preferably without saying them aloud to each other. And then I'm going to ask you a series of yes or no questions, and I'll be upfront. This is not a trick question, nor is it a puzzle. All I want you to do is just be honest, and we'll see what happens. Is everybody ready to hear the list of words?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bed, rest, awake, tired, dream, wake, snooze, blanket, doze, slumber, snore, nap, peace, yawn, drowsy. Now, if we were all visible, I'd ask you to raise your hands, but for the sake of this show, I'll just ask that you briefly say yes or no. You don't have to take turns. And since there are 3 of you, please keep it to a simple yes or no. And when I've finished asking you the questions, I'll explain what this was all about. So, do you remember me saying the word blanket?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember me saying the word tired?
Yes.
No.
No. Oh no.
Do you remember me saying the word sleep?
Yes.
No.
No.
Oh.
Do you remember me saying the word dream?
Yes.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. I said all of those words except for sleep.
Mm.
Oh.
Here's what this was, essentially. This is an adaptation of what is called the Dees-Rodiger-McDermott paradigm, which in psychology is an experiment that demonstrates how false memories can form. And the way that the experiment typically runs is they'll have a bunch of people participating and they'll just raise their hand, or they will try to remember all of the words on a list. And what they have found is if they group several thematic words together but omit what is the key word,
Mm-hmm.
people will insist that they distinctly remember that word being said. So I chose
Oh.
the keyword sleep,
Mhm.
which was omitted from the list, but and it statistically had the highest percentage of the ones that they tested of people remembering sleep. But there was also doctors, which would have things like hospital and medicine and sick and other things like that. And so I genuinely didn't know how well this was going to work doing it in audio format like this. But can I ask now a follow-up question? When you answered yes or no, do you feel like you had an actual memory, or were you trying to just guess?
So here's a little honesty on my end. I don't remember what I answered now. If I said yes or no to sleep, I forget. But I do have like in my mind a memory of being like, oh, all those words and no sleep. Like I
Oh,
thought it was
interesting.
like it stood out to my mind that sleep wasn't mentioned.
Okay.
I legitimately felt like I had either memory or no memory of some of those, but I was just like 15 words is a lot of words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's intended to be that. So like
Right.
it gets in there. And so what I ran into when I ran this as a trial run with a few people was, because I've adapted the study and I don't actually know all of the parameters of the original study, I noticed that I think people were trying to find, I guess, what the trick was before actually doing it. And so there would be like a polluted sample size if this were a blind experiment, right? But
Yeah.
that was fascinating to me as well. So what I was reading is that there are multiple explanations for why this happens on a larger scale, on how false memories are supposedly created. Some people think that human memory is just fallible, and this demonstrates that. And the idea is that when someone later insists they heard the word that was deliberately omitted, they've actually formed a memory and can vividly see it, just like they can remember what they ate yesterday.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But there is another way to view it, some people think that it is an example of what is called semantic activation in the brain, which is less focused on memory failure and more how concepts are organized in the brain. And the assertion is that you don't remember everything that happens to you exactly in detail, but your brain kind of creates what they call is a gist of the experience. And they think that this is evolutionarily beneficial because it's less brain power, but you understand how it happened. Now, there is some controversy around this, not from this study in general, but from what people have mistakenly interpreted from the study. It has been used to debunk eyewitness testimony in criminal cases, specifically of abuse victims.
Oh.
And that is like completely misunderstanding what the study was trying to understand.
Yeah.
So
you are dusting off like Psych 101 cobwebs in the back of my brain right now. This is like
same.
This is all stuff that I know I've learned before that I like filed away in a cabinet and haven't thought about for however many years. So
would you call it a gist?
It's a gist
that you remember. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's what I like to do. I like, if we're going to do a segment like this, I kind of like to do just an entry level thing so anyone listening can follow along.
Sure.
And I am not a psychologist. I have studied mentalism. They're not that compatible. I mean, they are, but not in this degree. Yeah, I'm interested if anybody does go back and listen, if you played along at home and you remember certain words that I said I didn't say, or if you agreed with one of Jim, Aly, and Justin, you can go back and listen to the actual list of the words and see, yep, I didn't say the word sleep.
That was cool, Derek.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, speaking of things that are cool,
Whoa.
Our second question for this episode is, should Beyblade be a sport?
Let it rip.
What is Beyblade? Somebody tell me what Beyblade is.
Battle tops.
Yes.
Battle tops, yeah.
It's tops that fight. That's
Tops that
literally
fight.
all I know about it. It's tops that fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's an anime
Oh,
too.
no. Yeah. I was kind of hoping y'all would have a little bit more knowledge on Beyblades because I really don't know anything about them.
Well, I mean, it really is just battle tops. You each player has their top, and you get to build your top. Like you can customize it in different ways, and then you have your little plastic stadium that you fight in, and you all get your tops go. You let them rip at the same time, and then the last top standing is the winner.
So to be fair, what Jim is describing just now is what I'm thinking of. Justin, you mentioned it is an anime.
Yeah.
It's like a Pokemon-esque anime. It came out in that era, I believe. I know nothing about that. I'm specifically thinking of, I have seen that it's popular in Korea, I think, from what I saw, but there are Beyblade tournaments and conventions, and people will customize using a certain set of rules, which ultimately really made me think of Formula One.
Yeah.
There are criteria that you are allowed to modify these tops in certain ways within certain parameters.
Okay.
And you, just as Jim described, the two tops start spinning in close quarters and they can crash into each other, but you have no real direct control over them. And the winner is the one that stays spinning the longest.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of neat because there are different types of tops that you can sort of work towards. So you have attack tops, which are things that are designed to sort of knock the other top off balance. You have defense tops, which sort of can tank damage and things like that. I think there was agility tops, which were designed to sort of stay centered in the arena while the other top, goes around them and like misses. And then I swear there was a fourth type, but I don't remember what it was. But there's like a meta to this.
I have some pretty big opinions based on that and some of the things I was thinking about earlier.
Okay.
I think it should be an Olympic sport.
Oh, okay.
But I have three very, very big parameters that have to be met for this to be an Olympic sport.
Okay.
The first one is that anybody who makes a top has to manufacture all the pieces themselves.
A lot of them do,
Interesting.
Okay.
from what I understand.
The second one is that the tops have to be about 600% bigger.
Yes,
Okay.
And the third one is
I agree already.
They have to have blades on them
Okay.
in some way, shape, or form. If curling can be an Olympic sport, why can't battle bots with tops be an Olympic sport?
So I thought you were gonna say that people have to be on the top.
I also
And then
thought that, yeah.
I was just gonna say that's Crossfire.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's the Crossfire commercial.
Crossfire.
I want battle bots, but I don't want them to be robots. I want them to be big giant tops, and I need them to
Big
be big
giant
enough that we
tops.
can see them. So
Mhm.
Well, that's fair. I started by asking the question, what is a sport?
I did too.
And that's why I have arguments for both pro and con here.
Yeah.
As do I. I'd like to hear
Right.
yours.
Okay. Well, so what I discovered about just asking the question, what is the sport? I had to go with the Oxford English Dictionary here, which has multiple definitions and also historical usage of the word. There are sort of slang uses that have fallen out of the wayside, like practical jokes were often called sport and several other things like that. I stuck to just the relevant definitions.
Mhm.
The original usage of the word sport comes from French, which meant amusement or a game, and then sort of evolved to mean an activity that was often associated with contest, such as hunting or sword fighting, or the pleasure one receives from said activity. So either hunting is a sport or you are hunting for sport. In most common usage, this is the agreed upon definition in the Oxford English Dictionary: an activity involving physical exertion and skill, one regulated by sets of rules or customs in which an individual or team competes against another or others. So one thing that stood out to me about every definition I was coming across, that were all basically kind of the same, is that physical exertion is basically always included.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And that even started to make me question, and I know, Jim, you'll have more to say about this, but from a layman perspective, I don't know if I consider something like racing, like Formula One or NASCAR, a sport, but there may be more physical prowess that is required in there than I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah. It's very much a physical sport because of the just sheer amount of G-force that is put on your body. And so you have to be in like really good physical condition because your body's under a lot of stress, even if it's not like, lifting something or moving something. Also, they lose like half of the water in their body during I forget exactly how much it is. It's like, of the X number of liters that you can sweat out, they sweat out like half of it or something like that. I forget.
So stamina, at least.
Yeah.
I imagine there's an incredible amount of dexterity and like cognitive ability that has to go into that too in order to be able to drive the vehicle at such high speeds.
Yeah. Now it's interesting because to me, as you were going through that, I'm like, well, things like golf and bowling, I don't feel like there's a lot of exertion in that. There's physicality to it, of course, but I mean, they're not really breaking a sweat playing golf.
Yeah.
So,
Depends on how hot it is.
That's true.
I mean, that's fair.
I would disagree with that though, because for bowling, if you're going down and you're just kind of bowling with your family or whatever, probably not. But like professional bowlers have techniques that require practice and muscle memory and things like to spin the ball in certain directions. Yeah. Golfers have the same thing with their swing. You know what I mean? Like it's a different type of exertion, similar to racing, where it's like anybody can hit a golf ball, but not a lot of people can hit a golf ball like a professional golfer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And actually, to that point, I feel like I would sort of disagree with the sort of dictionary definition of what a sport actually is, because I would consider bowling and golf to be sports.
Yeah.
I feel like there are a lot of things that don't quite fall under the umbrella in the way that we sort of interpret sports.
Kind of what Justin said, bowling and golf do fit the criteria even as the dictionary definition. Like physical exertion is something that's part of that.
True.
I was going to say that, like, what's really the difference between, like, the old, like, version of sport, hunting, a bow and arrow or something, right? And bowling. It's the same kind of concept. You're shooting something down a lane and hitting a target, right?
Yeah.
You're not physically going up and beating the pins down. You're not going and wrestling the fox out of the hole. You're using something, right? And I think that's very, very similar. Additionally, chess is considered an Olympic sport.
Oh, okay.
Is it considered? I didn't know that. Based on what I was reading about the definition, I would disagree with chess being included. So another tangent I wanted to go on, because I didn't want any of this to be like stepping on anyone's toes or firing shots at anyone's pastime or anything.
Yeah.
Because it really reminded me of a debate that was going around like when I was in high school. So like esports is a thing. And I would maybe say that esports I don't consider a sport, but even more primitive than that, or earlier than that, and I don't know if this is still happening, but I know that there was a big argument about it when I was in high school personally, whether or not cheerleading is considered a sport. And I think it's interesting, based on the textbook definition, I think hands down, yes, it's physical exertion, there's skill involved, and it is some kind of competitive thing. But I remember my argument in high school being, why do we need it to be a sport for it to have merit? And that always seemed to be what it came down to for whenever people would defend, well, it's a sport. I consider it a sport. Why would you say it's not a sport? Because I am an artist, a musician, and a writer. These are not things that are athletic. But I was in 2 marching band competitions. I don't know why, because we were terrible. But in high school, I was in 2 marching band competitions, and nobody even brought up the fact that, are we doing a sport right now?
You were.
But we were by the definition, because that is a physical exertion. And so the thing that comes down to me, like bowling and golf are athletic, whereas I would be hard pressed to be convinced that esports are athletic. I think they require skill and dexterity, and there's nothing wrong with them if that's a thing you enjoy. But I don't think athletic. So what it kind of comes down to for me, whether it's a sport or not, I don't understand what that means, and it feels a little arbitrary depending on who's arguing it, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I think the distinction for like cheerleading is important. Essentially because of insurance. People get hurt.
Well, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah, people get hurt doing that. People get hurt a lot doing that. And the reason that they had that entire argument is because they didn't want to pay for people to go to the hospital after they got hurt.
That makes sense.
That's my understanding, is that there was a debate about cheerleading because it's predominantly a woman-led sport, which means people are going to be kind of gross about that to begin with. And on top of that, these insurance companies don't want to pay out when people get hurt. That's what my understanding of like why that was such a big debate.
Well, that makes sense.
That being said, I would argue that Beyblades is a sport by your definition if you follow my rules.
If you follow your rules, yes.
Sure, yeah.
If they are 600 times bigger, spinning the top is going to require some physical exertion.
Yeah.
I think quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't want them to do it with machines. I think they have to spin the top. I think that's part of it.
Oh, okay. Well, then it becomes shot put level. Yeah.
I had very similar thoughts on like the parameters of this if we increase Beyblade to sport, even if it stays somewhat small. And Justin, I'm not shooting down your idea. I think they should get big. But even if they don't, that so much of like organized sport has rules, especially as you get higher in like professional level, right? Between like amateur and like local leagues or club Beyblades, I guess. And then you get up to like professional and then like Olympian level. And each of the rules change slightly depending on what tier or echelon you're playing at, right? So I think there needs to be a hard and fast criteria for like what is the material allowed to be made out of that these tops are created with? Because, like, you could get, like, incredibly lightweight and fast blades or tops that would get knocked out really easily, or very dense ones that are not going to last as long but hit harder. And all of that's going to depend on the material. I also think the arena is a really key component that is being that needs to be brought to surface, because
hold on,
the shape of the arena is needed. Yes, please.
It's called the Bay Stadium.
I'm sorry?
Okay.
It's called the Bay Stadium.
The Bay Stadium.
The Bay Stadium, for sure.
Oh.
It's not called that. Nope, don't call it that.
Don't like that one.
So my understanding, not to cut you off, but
no.
My understanding of these contests is that there are different, as Jim pointed out, there are different types. There are like agility and speed and stamina builds of these things. And what you're suggesting makes me think of, like, in boxing. And I think this doesn't exist in a Beyblade competition as far as I am aware. But, like, in boxing, you would have a weight class.
Yeah.
In Beyblade, that would be kind of similar to, like, the really heavy, durable top going up against another similar build, but they kind of deliberately encourage not restricting that.
Interesting.
Again, I think one of the biggest illusions that you can make is battle bots, right? Because battle bots have, like, lightweight bots that are focused on flipping, and they've got big heavy bots that are focused on smashing, and, like, I think that distinction, like that, like, heavyweight, featherweight distinction doesn't matter in something like this, because their strategies are different, right? If you have a top that you want to spin faster, and you want to have something on the bottom that knocks the base of the top over to get it to fall over and topple, that's a strategy. And if you're a big heavy top, that strategy is, well, take that lightweight one that's trying to knock me over and just bash it until it dies. Like, one of those two things is going to win based on whether or not their strategy gets, like, wins out first, or, like, so, like, you'd have to know who you're up against. You'd have to sit there and go, all right, like and almost like battle bots, where they're like, hey, you can modify your tops, but, like, you know who you're going up against, you know what top you're going up against. You have to, like, make a couple adjustments. Maybe the restrictions are more about what kind of adjustments you're allowed to make based on the style of top. Like, you can't,
like, a time limit.
Like you can't build a big heavy bruiser one and then they announce that that's your top, and then all of a sudden you come out and it's a completely different style of top. Like, maybe you have to dedicate yourself to one kind of strategy going into the fight or something.
Well, similarly, and I don't know the specifics of this because I do not follow boxing, but they have the weigh-in for boxing, and there is exercise and training strategy that goes into it. Everything I know about boxing comes from the Rocky movies, but I know there's some truth to this, that they have to pay attention to how much weight they're gaining and building muscle and stuff, because they have to know which weight class they are in. I think, while training. And so you can focus on more speed and agility if you know you're going up against a bigger person.
Well, yeah, so, like, the whole reason behind weight classes in boxing is because, like, no matter how good or fast you are, like, a featherweight is just not going to be able to hold his own in a heavyweight competition, because, like, just the sheer size of the heavyweight guys, like, they can hit harder, they can hit bigger. But that is a thing, like, if you're in featherweight and you're at the top of the weight, like, that's what those guys are doing, is they're trying to make sure they're getting rid of all their water weight and all that stuff. They're trying not to gain too much muscle, because it's kind of like being in a different tax bracket, right? Like, as soon as you go over the weight limit when you weigh in, you're not in this weight class anymore. And now you're a little fish in a big pond instead of a big fish in a big pond. So that's the strategy, is to try to maintain that, to be as muscular and fast as possible without dipping into the next level of class.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I'm reading right now, because I just pulled up the Wikipedia page for it again, because there's a lot of good information on here. And they point out that that due to the amount of customization that you can do, the sort of knowledge of the player is a really big aspect of how good your top is going to come out. I think that's really interesting because it's sort of like a lot of the motorsports situations that you can get into where like your team or even individual drivers can do a really good job of tuning the car within sort of the parameters to be a little bit better at certain tracks and things like that. And that's kind of what that makes me think of, is like you have to be a skilled Beyblade assembler to really know, like, okay, you know, this particular module is not going to work very well. And, you know, based on the Bay Stadium that we have, I shouldn't bother doing this particular thing. Because I guess there are a lot of different types of Bay Stadiums you can buy too.
Oh, they have like different hazards or something on them.
Yeah. Common features of the Bay Stadium include a circular shallow ridge called the Tornado Ridge, which allows mobile Beyblades such as attack types to move around quickly without accidentally knocking themselves out. Other systems may be specific to the series that the Bay Stadium is released in, like the rails from Beyblade Burst Cho Z toy system and the later Speedstorm toy system.
Oh.
The burst, we haven't even talked about the burst system.
I don't know
What's
what that
a
is.
burst system?
So there is an unlocking mechanism that causes the top to explode.
What?
Yeah, and so all your parts go flying apart and you lose.
Okay. I have an idea.
Okay.
We remake the Colosseum. And
put
instead
giant
of the
Beyblades in it.
pit, and instead, because it's like a perfect circle shape, right? Everyone has a good view,
Mhm.
and then like we can have hazards just like they did for the Colosseum, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a pitfall, and just like BattleBots, like saws can
Mhm.
come out, or elephants, or all
A big
kinds of
tiger.
stuff that could, big
An
tigers.
actual tornado.
What's his name? Russell Crowe.
Yes.
There's a lot of potential
Are you
in
not
this.
entertained?
I feel like Russell Crowe might just do that for free if we pitch it right.
Yeah.
So
I
He
think
does
so.
like fighting around the world, from what I
Yeah.
understand.
I think that's a good idea. And I would like to add, if
Mhm.
one Beyblade makes the other Beyblade explode, I think that should be like catching the snitch in Quidditch, where you get an extra 100 points because it exploded. And I just think
I like that.
That's what we should all be aspiring to, is making the other one explode.
I'd like to expand on this burst system.
Please,
Okay.
please.
Because when you described it, I immediately pictured the idea of it being like detachable parts, like it sent out little projectiles.
Oh,
But what,
no,
what you are
no.
instead describing is it is basically destroyed.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Can we do my idea?
I mean,
Sure.
you'd have to talk to Tomy about that, which is the company that makes Beyblade. But like, you know.
Just like the Matryoshka tops.
Oh, Hasbro started distributing the toys in the U.S., so you could talk to Hasbro. They are no strangers to ideas.
They're no strangers to taking good ideas and making them worse.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're taking the idea and implementing it in some meaningful way.
Well, we have documented proof that it was my idea, and
Right.
I can take them to court.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good.
I think sort of wrapping back around to the question, I see no reason why, even in its current form, this isn't something that could be done as like a tournament competitive. In fact, it probably is, and I just am
I believe
not
it
aware
is,
of it.
yeah.
But I did find several Twitch channels that have done Beyblade fights, and I'm like, well, you know what? What more do you need than a Twitch stream?
I think it is on the level of like a Yu-Gi-Oh or a Magic the Gathering tournament. Like they do have them, but they are kind of niche and more in like the convention scene. So I don't know that there are any that are like national champions or anything like that.
I think it'd be really neat if people, and maybe they do, but going back to BattleBots, like they make their custom Beyblade and then they name it. And then it's like you get to follow the stats of like the win-loss records and you get to like read about, okay, which components is this Beyblade made of?
If you haven't watched this, I don't know if I've delivered this rant to anyone here before. I know Jim knows what this is, but if you haven't watched Yella's Marble Runs.
Oh, yes.
I was about to bring that up too, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. If you don't know, they do Olympic events. They also do like a racing series.
Yeah, they have Marbula 1.
They have Marbula 1 and I started watching these videos a couple of years ago and have enjoyed them. And what's interesting to me as a person who's not really into sports is the narrative that evolves of following the particular team of inanimate marbles
Mhm.
is just fascinating to me. And I'm like, I feel like this is exactly the same thing I would get if I chose to follow the Olympics, because I don't know those people. They are just basically performing things on the TV to me, like from my
Yeah.
perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And the marbles are just, they have no consciousness, but I can say, oh, I want this one to win because it came in third every time. And I was like, it's just falling. It's just falling dramatically.
Yeah. It's just gravity.
We found that because they had it on TV in the brewery. And
Oh, fun.
my wife and kids were enamored with like choosing a marble and watching them and cheering. I was like, we're in the middle of this brewery and my kids are like screaming about the green marble and whether or not it's going to win or not. And I was like,
Amazing.
we spent like 2 hours down there. They were just watching marbles roll down sand. It was amazing.
I found out about Marbula 1 because they watched it on Desert Bus a couple years in a row. And I think last year they did too. Which, speaking of Desert Bus, something else they've done for the last 2 or 3 years is hold a Beyblade tournament.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like something they would do, yeah.
Yeah. And last year, one of them took it really seriously and like bought components and like a specific like launcher gizmo that like really revs it up to the max speed before letting it go. And I think it ended up breaking almost immediately, but it was really cool that he did that.
It sounds like Jim wants us to get into Beyblades real bad.
I mean, I think we should. You know what? It seems like a better than a trading card game.
It seems exactly like a trading card game.
It's Beyblade rose in popularity pretty much when I was at the age where I was done with the Pokemon clones. And I know several people are not done with Pokemon clones that are my age or older, and so that still doesn't really place it, but I never got into Beyblade. I do like
Same.
tops. I just like playing with tops.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I think it's one of those things where like watching the Desert Bus folks getting really into sort of like the pretend meta of this and then also treating it as a sporting event and doing like commentary as it's happening, it made me feel like this really could be a sport.
The thing that I will say for it, in the same thing as the marble runs, is the same reason I can appreciate professional wrestling. While I don't follow it or anything, I do appreciate the potential for narrative.
Mhm.
And that definitely exists in Beyblade. So like, that's fun.
Yeah,
I mean, what is a sport if not just an activity where somebody's very animated commentary is overlaid on top of it?
Yeah, that's the definition. That's the new definition.
Yeah.
I accept that. And most sports, especially in North America, but this is a global thing at this point too. Most like public sports that are broadcast are kind of for the entertainment of the spectator more than they are for the people participating in it.
Mhm.
So there's that element to it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just think if curling can be an official Olympic sport, so can Beyblades. I mean, curling is just professional sweeping. So
I watched so much curling this year.
yeah,
Don't you
I know.
you gotta curl.
I don't know why, but we couldn't stop watching it.
It's fun.
Look, those stones don't even spin.
It's so weird.
No, they slide.
It's such an
They slide.
odd sport.
It's
It is.
shuffleboard. I want to do it because I always liked playing shuffleboard. Like
But it's shuffleboard with brooms.
Yeah.
it's shuffleboard with extra steps.
And if that can be an Olympic grade sport, so can building and throwing tops at each other until they explode.
Yes.
I think if chess is considered an Olympic sport, which I didn't know until today.
So I want to clarify as well. Sorry.
Okay.
That chess is recognized as an Olympic sport, but it is not played at the Olympics.
But has it been played in the past?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's interesting.
Why?
Oh, I'm not a part of the Olympic Committee.
It's such a weird thing for them to be like, yes, this sport that we never want to have on TV. We'll recognize this one.
That's Anakin Skywalker.
That feels like the frat that gets low grades that is like pushing to get the honor student to pledge.
I'm telling you, it's Anakin Skywalker. They recognize that you were on this council, but they do not grant you the rank of master.
That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct.
It's like, we really want to do chess in the Olympics, and then the chess people are like, but we don't want to, and they're like, but you gotta.
You know, the ironic piece about that comparison, Jim, is that all those chess people are probably masters.
Probably,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're grandmasters, in fact. At the Olympics, I'd imagine so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
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 What about high school Beyblades? Is that anything?
I bet they do it.
I think that probably, I imagine in some high schools that have makerspaces, Beyblades are probably like a really easy in, right?
Oh.
3D printing and laser cutting like custom pieces for
components.
All right, listeners, let us know this week. Could we reinvent Beyblade? I think Justin's onto something already. If you have thoughts on that or anything else we talked about, you can email us at feedback@vaguelyscientific.com, or you can comment on our blog at vaguelyscientific.com, or you can like us on Facebook at I don't know, Facebook something. Hey, Jim, where do we get all these wacky questions?
We get them from you, the listener, and if you have a question that needs to be answered in a vaguely scientific manner, you can email us at questions@vaguelyscientific.com. If you want to get our episodes the minute that they're released, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and all the other very cool places that podcasts like to hang out. And subscribing and leaving feedback really helps us out, and so does telling your friends.
And tell your friends to join the Vaguely Scientific Beyblade tournament to be announced soon.
Yeah. Our vaguely musical intro is composed by Anthony Pizzelli, and there are two very cool ways that you can help to support the show. First off, you can buy us a coffee using the Buy Us a Coffee button on vaguelyscientific.com, or you could check out our merch store over at vaguelyscientific.threadless.com. And I mean, if you're really into giant algae and lava balls that are on discount, then you could buy the Jeremiah's Algae and Lava Ball shirt, or teacup, or whatever you want to put it on, really. All the designs can go on all kinds of things.
Sold only in Ohio, that one.
Yeah. But you can get the design on anything in any state.
Yeah, they'll ship anywhere in the continental U.S.
Yeah.
Thank you to Aly and Justin for coming back and goofing off with us.
Hey, thank you guys. Orb good, Beyblade good, podcast good.
Podcast good. Podcast done.
Yeah. Podcast done. Beyblade done. Beyblade start.
Beyblade spin fast.
For Vaguely Scientific, me Derek.
Me Jim.
Me Aly.
Me not get paid.
Podcast now done.
Bye.
Toodaloo.
Then we're going to talk about what if we did reinvent the wheel, which I'm excited to hear what everybody has to say about it, because I got 4 hours of sleep last night.
Reinvent your sleep schedule.